we really tried to install a sense of self-sufficiency. When I started the club, nobody really knew how to fix their bike. Nobody really felt like they knew how to ride. And that's why we started clinics. And we always tried to say, like, you need to be able to fix your bike. If you break your chain, you don't rely on a man to come by and fix it for you. You're going to do it yourself, or fix your tire and everything like that. And that really, I found that really inspired people. That year, I just sent an email out to everybody I knew who I thought would either already mountain bike or be interested in mountain bike. And it was just friends of friends and friends of friends, and started a club, and we had 40 people that first summer. And I was president from 2004 for 3 years, 5, 6. And then I backed off. I had had a baby, my first baby, and so I just backed off and just did clinics for a few years, and then kind of backed out altogether. And I try to instruct with the clinics when they have them. I think it was in the second year probably that we started a race team, and I had gone and done the NCCP coaching level 1, and so I was the coach of the race team. And I remember that year we had the most people out of any given group that was putting people into the race. It was kind of shocking to the race organizers. They had all these women showing up because they had a hard time attracting women to race. So that was a pretty fun moment. We had to cap memberships, started at 300, we capped, and then we had to start planning, well, how do we increase the membership, allow us to increase the membership without damaging the trails and kind of bugging everybody at the trailheads, filling up the parking lots and stuff like that. So we strategized and we kind of built a vision for 3 to 5 years out, and about kind of attracting more ride leaders, expanding beyond Wednesdays, and I can't remember all the things we did, but I think that was a really great effort. And those services for strategic planning were donated by Carla Reeser, who was a mediator and a facilitator that was very generous with her time. I joined the club in sort of, I think, 2009, 2010. Started racing pretty quickly after joining the club, and then ended up stepping up and organizing the Spin Sisters' first race that we actually took on as a club to sponsor and organize. And I did that for, I think, 5 or 6 years, and when I did it was called the Iron Maiden. And then after that I ran the race team for a couple of years as well. So that was kind of my involvement with Spin Sisters, was always around racing. And the second year I was race director, I was like 7 months pregnant, running this race, and we got like 80 millimeters of rain, I want to say, in like the couple of days leading up to and during the race. We did have to shorten some of the races. We were making modifications. We were monitoring the trails. We were checking on racers for being hypothermic. Like it was really stressful. In hindsight, probably we should have canceled the race, but as a new race director, I really didn't even realize that was an option to me. So I just thought, and you know what was awesome is the racers didn't realize that they had the option to not race, because the turnout was still really good, and so many people came out of it like freezing cold and covered in mud, and so proud of themselves for what they challenged themselves to do and what they achieved, and how they were terrified to do it and they didn't back down. And so I really think like the atmosphere was pretty giddy, very much like the type 2 fun that everyone is just so proud of yourself when you finish it. So that was both a highlight and a low light, I guess you could say. And then after that, I got better at it, and I'd say the following year I raced it. I think 2013 is the first year I organized and then also competed in my own event, and I did that every year after that and had so much fun. It was such a great event. But like I say, I stood on the shoulders of this incredible club that had never fell short of volunteers and committed people who were always showing up and doing all the things, so I didn't have to worry about those things getting done, and so it was super cool.
So I'm Cindy Spence, and I joined the club probably around the same time Ramona did, and dabbled with all kinds of things, everything from being the clothing coordinator, so all these awesome jerseys that span years of designs, and did a bunch of things. I dabbled with some of the skills clinics and all of those things, and then Lindsay Snyder snagged me as the outgoing president. She's like, "You're going to be the next president," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you. Yes, I think I will."
Nice, Lindsay.
That's great. So that was Lindsay. I have Lindsay Snyder to thank for that. So president from the end of 2012, because we always voted in September, 13, 14, so for the 10th anniversary, and then 15 I exited. And I have to say that hearing your story just now, there are bits and pieces of that I wish I knew. Because when I think about the time that I had as president, I think about it in terms of having all of these awesome bones that were built for us, like this great big scaffold, and then we got to scale it. So we did all kinds of things. Because of the great bones that you had, we were able to expand sponsorships. We added extra bike shops. We expanded and held so many clinics. Everything from the simple learn to change a tire to how to bleed your brakes and how to adjust your suspension. We had learn to race clinics. We also had race teams that were out around the world racing that we supported. We had junior clinics that we tried out for a couple of years, and we partnered with Fast and Female for that. We had so many different things. It let us scale, and it let us also think about how are we going to support more than 300 women riding, because the demand for membership was enormous. We had wait lists. People would wait with their finger over the mouse ready to click as soon as we said yes on March the 1st. So the demand for the club at that time was huge. And what it did was create this amazing sense of community that I really still value about the club and about the friendships that I made with the gals in the club. It was a legendary club. It still is legendary. Everybody knows who the Spin Sisters are, and it's because of the community that gets created and the friendships. So, I mean, Ramona and I are friends because of mountain biking, but we ski together and we see each other on the trails and we talk about our kids, and we see each other all the time. And there are so many other girls that are the same way. And it's that community. And for me, that was something that really I felt we needed to foster. So how many more women can we open this club up to? And how can we do it sustainably, profitably, so that we don't go in the hole? But I was also worried about, we're just a club of women riding. We shouldn't be making a lot of money either. So how do we make sure we give back to the trails and do trail building? We haven't even talked about that yet, all the partners that we have in that space. All of those things. There was a lot to manage at the time. So at that point, we also officially earned our NPO status. So building on what you had done, we had some strategy sessions and had someone help us guide through how to become that NPO, so that it protected the people on the board, it protected the members, it protected the community, and it let us do all those awesome things.
My name is Heather Beck. I was president from 2021 through 2023. And I was on the board from, I think, 2017 onwards. So I had a few different roles in there as well.
Great.
Similar stories. So in our time as president, I got the glory of picking up the pieces after that time that we're going to forget. Right after the COVID time. So everything got shut down. It's like, oh my God, what is
COVID time? I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, that.
So we had to cancel all the rides. So all of the clubs, so Carmen was on the board before then and just had all of the hoopla that was 2020. I got to come in and sort of save the day in 2021 and started doing rides again. So that was sort of my privilege of these women working so hard over the past year. So we'd had some things put in place that turned out to be amazing for the club in the long haul. And one, and I think you talked to it about it before, which was the size of the rides. So all of a sudden with COVID, we had to limit the size of rides. Well, that turned out to be a really positive thing. We could have more rides. We could have more rides every night. We, at this point, have now a 5-level system for, think of the ski runs, green through black, and everything in between, to really allow for, I think, what had started with the club as being, like, I remember joining as a scooter. I was so proud to be a scooter. It was so cool. And I went on a cruiser ride. It's like, oh. But we wanted to give those progressions for women, like you've all identified, to say, okay, here's some confidence. Just go try. Just give this a try. And to have that was, so we had the 5 levels. We had more rides, 15 capped, and I think it was just sort of ended up being a good thing. Some of those logistical things that we had to put in place because of the time we're not talking about.
That's right.
Building on what Cindy was saying about scaling, we got to a point in the club where there was still really high demand in the city. Great enthusiasm for the club as a whole and for volunteering, and like what a force, like people coming out, especially sort of dusting off. It was outdoor activities was all you could do, I think, in 2021 and 2022. So it was amazing to be part of that. Okay, so I was thinking about this on the way over because I am I think I've heard a couple similar stories of, I came from a road riding background, got a mountain bike. It's going to be the same thing, right? No, oh my gosh, like not the same thing. So there was cry rides, there was, I wanted to throw the mountain bike over the edge rides, where, you know, the guy I was with at the time of just like, just ride the bike, just ride this. So anyways, love the people, love the connection. But I think what I loved the most was just that confidence. So you went out after a bad day, bad family day, bad work day, where you're feeling a little beat up just as a woman in life, and you got over the route and you got over the rock and you had some fun with some friends in the outdoors, and you maybe scratched your knee, but you just felt this confidence that would then take you into the next day. And so I think as women, and we've talked about this a little bit, we downplay ourselves, right? Oh, I can't be on a cruiser ride. Oh, I shouldn't try a Blue Plus ride. Or, oh, I do this. But in Spin Sisters, what I love the most is the girl power of just try it. Just try it. We got you, girl. Like, we got you. And if you try the route and the rock 4 times and it's not your day, it's not your day. And if you try it and you make it, then you've got this team around you to be like, heck yeah. I won't say the other word, but yeah. And I think it's the confidence that really transfers into your life, that just sort of that heck yeah, like I did that thing, and along with the community.
It's true.
I am. So I'm still on the board of directors, leading the sponsorship and then dabbling in operations right now. For the future, I would love to see a world where women show up and they go, heck yeah, I am this level. And just to continue to build that confidence, to continue to build that self-sufficiency, just a place where a woman feels safe to try. There's so many places that we are under the microscope, but not on the trail. Like, the forest doesn't have eyes. Like, let's just go create that safe place for women to be amazing. So that's whether that's getting back into juniors, whether that's we've actually had a Golden Girls part of the club for a little while where, 55 plus get together and go ride, whatever age, stage, but just can build that place where women can really feel safe to stretch their confidence. And that's what my hope is.
Hi, so my name's Carmen. I'm the current Spence Sisters president. This is my 6th year on the board of directors. I've been on it for a while. I joined the club as a member around 2012. I did a lot of things in the early years just as a participant. I remember my first year we had the 24 Hours of Adrenaline race in the Kenmore Nordic Center, and I dug up a photograph of our homemade jerseys yesterday with stenciled. We made stenciled jerseys that were lime green and DIY craft projects. So it was really fun in those days. And some of my favorite memories in the club is the weekend road trips. I did multiple trips to Revelstoke. We went to Golden, we went to Fernie, but the overnight trips where you're not just riding, but you're also going out for dinner together and having conversations in the carpools and eating really good food and hanging out in the hot tub at night, because that's really where you build friendships. And to me, one of the things that I love the most about the club is the friendships and the community and the connection. I've made so many friends in the club over the past 12 years. And then since I was on the board of directors, I started volunteering in the Rides Committee, building the schedule, writing the little blurbies that talk about, the trail descriptions and how many kilometers and the elevation gain. And then this ride schedule kept growing. Once we grew from 300 members to 500 members, we had hundreds of rides a year. So it was a big Excel spreadsheet. And we went through a lot of iterations with the rides. When COVID happened, our technology didn't meet what we needed in order to be in compliance with the government. The government said, you have to cap the rides, and we had this Team Snap where you couldn't cap the rides. You could have 30 people sign up for a ride, and we needed to cap it because of the law. So we found a new technology, but we were under the gun to get the rides going. So we tried Eventbrite. It wasn't very popular with our members or our volunteers, and then we ended up switching to Wild Apricot, which I think we did before Team Snap, but there was a lot of, we started in Wild Apricot and then went to Team Snap and then went back. But Wild Apricot's working now because it has the capping the rides functionality. So we did a lot of technology, behind the scenes stuff. We also tried a few different iterations of the ride levels, because we had the 3 levels, and then the feedback that we got over and over and over again is, I'm in between 2 levels. I'm not a scooter, I'm not a cruiser, I'm a scruiser. And so they would want the in between levels. So yeah, I'm a Scrocket or a Crockett or whatever they would make up. Or so we spread it out into 5 levels, and I had this vision of these fruits where everyone would know a lime's like a green circle on a ski hill, a blueberry is like a blue square on a ski hill, a blackberry is a black diamond. But it wasn't as intuitive to other people as it was to me. So people are like, I don't know what I am. I'm going to be a coconut. And you're like, that's not on the menu. So this year we rebranded the ride levels again. We've got 5 so that the in-between people can go in their in-betweens. Because people are like, I'm not in the 1, 2, 3. I'm a 2 or a 5. But we've done it exactly like a ski hill. And someone pointed this out to me the other day. They're like, well, on Trail Forks, red is harder than black, and you put cherry before the blackberry. And I was like, okay, no more fruits. But building culture among the volunteers, building culture on the board, building culture in the membership, and really trying to create that positive, supportive, everyone pitches in to help out, everyone steps up, everyone shows up culture, so that the ambassadors will show up as the ride leaders to make sure that the rides don't get canceled, and people will volunteer and show up, so we can do things like organize weekend trips to Fernie. And last year we did our first weekend trip since the time we don't talk about, and 50 people signed up. So anyways, it was fun. So going forward, I think one of the most important things that we're focusing on is the culture and getting people inspired and motivated, building leadership, building confidence, building the community and connecting the club to the community. So, we've really focused on partnerships lately too. Like we're partnering with clinics providers, to take some of the stress off the volunteers, and also, to be a good community partner, partnering with trail building associations. So connecting our members to community volunteer opportunities. There's 5 different trail building associations that we have relationships with. We donate some of the member fees to the trail building associations, and we really try to make sure that our members are connected with trail building volunteer opportunities. And then in the future, we can connect maybe first aid training opportunities, bear safety opportunities. We've talked a lot about education, growth, learning, and development, but it's not just how do I fix a flat tire, how do I pedal over a rock. There's a lot of learning to happen, and there's a lot of growth to happen.
We embraced trans members of the club early on. In the first few years of the club, we're open. We are open for all who feel themselves to be women. And so I was quite proud of that looking back, because it wasn't mainstream. It was new to everyone, and we were very just open-hearted. And as a club, I think I felt really proud of it. At the time, I wasn't thinking about that, but looking back on it, I'm quite proud of how the club reacted to that and embraced our trans members. So I think that's something that probably going forward will become even more relevant for the club.
So I got pregnant in just right at the beginning of 2012. So that season I was like, do I keep riding my mountain bike? Well, I was so lucky to know these women riders who are so phenomenal and who had been pregnant and had kept on mountain biking. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I chatted with my doctor. My doctor was amazing. She's like, hey, do it. If you feel good, go for it. It's fine. Do all the same things you would normally do to take care of yourself when you're out being active, like hydrate, eat, whatever, like all of that, but you should be doing that anyway, but definitely do it now, kind of thing. And, and I felt, actually, I loved it. And I rode until pretty much the end of my pregnancy. And
I have a picture.
You probably have pictures.
Me and British ladies on Merlin.
But
7 months for you. It was.
But I gotta say, the fun you have, biking past a bunch of people with a giant belly on some trail in Whistler or something, and have the whole group just turn their heads what the? But you're it's fun. I'm not saying this is for everyone. I was fortunate to have easy pregnancies. I felt good. I was able to, keep going. But man, that was so fun, and I really enjoyed it. And to be inspired, not just by women who bike, but mothers, right? And to see and to talk to each other about how we do manage it all, because we manage a lot. And so to have those other moms to be friends with and riding friends with, and kind of just have each other's back and support each other and encourage each other, that it's not easy. You don't ride because you have a ton of spare time. You never have time to ride your bike unless you make time to ride your bike.
Awesome. I think that's a wrap. That's a wrap.